Hey YouTube, there is just one more video that I want to make on the overview of this project before I can start, making content of me actually building this application. But this final video on the overview is just going to be, I guess, a little bit on the file structure of this app. But mainly, I want to talk about Cloud Functions, which is something that Firebase provides you as the developer to help control some of the things that happen on the server. So one of my goals for this project is to sort of rely on these Cloud Functions to do some of these tasks. Ideally, what I want to try to do is have the server do as much work as possible. That's where I stand with these Cloud Functions. So the first thing that I'd like to do is kind of talk about how you work with these. I think there's more than one way. In fact, disregard that. Never mind. There is only one way to have these deployed, I think, through the command line. But what I suggest you do, if you're interested, is go ahead and Google Firebase CLI. Okay, and this is going to walk you through kind of how to get a project set up with Firebase. It's very easy. Basically what it does is it installs a bunch of metadata kind of configuration files. The most important thing is this functions folder. All right. And just to sort of make sure that you have gathered your bearings here as far as this file structure goes, it's a top level folder. Okay, it lives inside of the top level one. This node modules obviously belongs to my application, and if you're familiar with React at all, if I open up this source folder, you're going to see nothing that's unfamiliar. So awesome. Okay, back to this functions folder. Now, one special thing about this is that you'll notice is that there's a node modules folder in here. That I was really surprised to learn. That is an amazing thing because basically what that allows you to do is you can write these Cloud Functions, that are doing these server-side tasks, but you can bring in as many node modules as you want to help you do that. Why is that a big deal? Well, because you're not building this server from scratch. Okay, this is there must have been a lot of thought put into this on Google's part, on Firebase's part. So let's get started on looking at how these work. So let me close these files we are no longer working with. So anyways, main file, index.js. This is what's going to hold all of your Cloud Functions. I apologize for all of the commenting out. I didn't want to erase those because there's some things that I wanted to remember. But before we get started here, I want to look at this package.json. I don't fully understand all of this yet. I will eventually in the future. The only thing I do know is line 8. This is how you actually go ahead and deploy your Firebase function. So let's wrap up this video by quickly showing you the Cloud Function and then deploying the Cloud Function and then verifying that it actually exists. So, okay. Let's see here, index.js. All right, so at the top of any of these files, you're going to see I'm bringing in the actual library. Then what are we doing here? We are requiring the admin library, and then we are initializing our app with a certain configuration. Pretty standard programming stuff. This is, and like I said, this is my one and only function right here. And the purpose of this is it's a listening event. So whenever something happens on the back end, there are a couple of things that I want done. So one of those here, you know what, I'm going to end this video short. I'm not going to talk about too much about this function because I want to demo more about how Firebase is done and how you can kind of work with it through the console. But in the very next video, I'll get into the detail about this function and how it works. But let's jump into the terminal. And what I want to show you is kind of how you deploy these functions. So it doesn't matter which branch you're on. You can see that I'm on this branch called syntax highlighting. But I'm going to hit up a bunch of times because I don't have this command memorized. In fact, I probably have, oh, there it is. Okay. So once you install the command line package here, it's as simple as executing this command. And I think what you can do, and look into this before you actually try, is I think you can add a colon after this and then specify the function that you want to deploy, and that'll save time. And let's say that you have 100 functions, right? You just made a change to one. But okay, let's go ahead and execute this command here. And I'm going to pause this video because this takes a minute. Okay, cool. Our deployment of the cloud function is complete. Let's review this output here. It's indeed deploying to where we want it to. Anything concerning? No. Deploy complete. And they just kind of remind you politely that sometimes it could take up to 30 seconds for these functions to take effect. So, all right, this cloud function on my right is now in service. Let's look at it. So, jumping back to this Firebase console, I just realized I haven't spent much time talking about how this console works, but I'm assuming it's going to be self-explanatory when you get your own project up and running. Anyways, there's a functions tab here. And what I'm expecting to see is just one function because that's all I have. And indeed, here it is. So the coolest part about this is there are going to be logs that you can reference for debugging or whatever it is you need to do. It's nice. So there's a separate log for each function, so that makes things easier to read. Okay, I think this concludes all of the major parts of this project. I wish that I could have started this from the beginning. I started writing code, but it is what it is. So, all right. Thanks again for watching this. Please subscribe. All of the fun stuff is coming. In this next video, I'm actually going to be doing some live coding. So please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.